Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel. So today I have a topic that is something that I've noticed with different people who are chronically ill, people that I've talked to, and some other YouTubers that I follow and that are chronically ill or have some kind of chronic illness, chronic pain issue. And the topic is overachievers. What is the relationship between people who are overachievers, workaholics, um, who are also chronically ill? Well, I don't want to call them workaholics, but that sometimes tends to happen, and I'll talk a little bit about that. And I want to say first off, I don't think the people on YouTube that I watch my channel. Um, I don't I don't know why they would. They have bigger followings than I do. But in case they do, this is not me commenting on their personality. I'm not saying that they're wrong or right for doing what they do. This is just an observation, and I feel like it's part of a bigger discussion and something that, and they've also addressed, their illness on their channels, and they've talked about uh, or at least one YouTuber that I follow, she has talked about how working a lot became part of the problem. But I have noticed this even with other people that I've met in Lyme disease groups, support groups, things like that. That a lot of people that have chronic medical issues were or still are very high achievers. They're high achievers, they're high earners, they have these really stressful, you know, um, good, really good jobs, high level jobs. And I can't help but wonder if that is part of the equation. Now, some of these people had Lyme disease. I know that their illness was not caused by the stress of their job or the pressure of their job. Um, it was caused by a tick bite. But they also tended to have more of a severe manifestation, or they needed um, like more extensive treatment. And there was one gentleman, I guess I'll just give you an example. There was one gentleman, I remember his name was like Dante or something. He had like this really different name. And he worked for Boeing. And I met him at a support group. And he was telling me, he's like, I work for Boeing. I can't stop working because I have a wife and kids, and we work I have to work 60 to 70 hours a week. And, he was also on IVIG like I am. At the time, I wasn't on IVIG, but he was currently on IVIG. So he had Lyme disease, but obviously the antibiotics didn't work. He was past that point, and he needed IVIG because he had neurological issues and other problems. And I think he took like something like maybe like 7 months off of work, something like that, and then went right back into work. Um, and a lot of it can be pressure, pressure from your family, pressure that you put on yourself to achieve. Um, so there's a lot of different reasons that people like us, keep working, keep doing what we're doing, even to our own detriment. And so I kind of want to talk about my own story because, I look back, at the very beginning, when I graduated from college. I graduated during a recession. There weren't any jobs. I was in a lot of debt. I had school debt. I had medical debt because I had already started developing problems my senior year. And it didn't matter. I was going to take any job that I could take, whether it required a bachelor's degree or not. I was going to take it because that's how I was raised. In my family, we're raised to be just workhorses. It doesn't matter what kind of job you do as long as you're working all the time. It's almost like that's all there is to live for. And I started working, and it's funny because none of these jobs, I know that these jobs are going to sound very trivial and almost like, why did you work there? These jobs were very hard. I started working at Petco, which surprisingly was a horribly stressful, horribly physically taxing job. I had an accident there, not like a major accident, but I cut myself, like I shattered a glass tank, cut myself on that. Then I became a substitute teacher. Wasn't as easy as I mean, I didn't expect it to be easy, but it was very, very hard. And then during the course of that job, I was I was kind of taken out of my subbing job to be an assistant for disabled kids, children with autism or children with other disabilities, which is a very difficult job. It can be also very physically taxing. I was a lot of times I was working two jobs. So I was a substitute teacher during the day, and then I would work at the after school program when school let out. I was working 12-hour days, sometimes as long as 14 hours, because we couldn't go home until the last child was picked up. And sometimes they would forget to pick up their kids. So I was pulling long hours. I often think to myself, when did I eat? When did I go to the bathroom? Like, obviously I probably wasn't drinking water or snacking on anything. I was neglecting myself, waking up early, getting home, eating, doing whatever I needed to do, going to bed, and then repeating it the next day. The only days that I wouldn't work were the days that I had doctor's appointments and physical therapy. And that's just not good. It's not good for you to work like that. But I had bills, I had a lot of pressure, I had tons of pressure at home to work, and even the jobs that I was doing were not enough. It wasn't enough to satisfy the people who were putting pressure on me to work. And, like I said, sometimes the pressure is exterior, sometimes the pressure is interior. There's another YouTuber on here. She's an actual YouTuber. She's not like me. She doesn't make just random videos. She does a lot of makeup tutorials and reviews and stuff. And I guess I won't say her name because it's probably too personal, but she has severe migraines. I think she has a problem with her neck. I don't know if it was a result of an injury. I think she mentioned that it was, or it might have been. And it's been a chronic problem for her for a very long time. And she had to make a decision. She said that she would work just constantly. If she wasn't bedridden, she was working. And it wasn't until the last couple of years that she said, I can't keep doing this. She was making, I think, 3 videos a week. She went down to 2 videos a week. She found a treatment that seems to be helping her. And now she's kind of doing more like, like a digital nomad type of thing. And she's enjoying life. And she even said it. She said it in actually one of her most recent videos. She said, it has been so much better since I went down to doing 2 videos a week, since I've been enjoying life, since I've been traveling and doing things that bring me joy, as opposed to, my waking hours were working on videos, and then everything else was just being in pain and sick in bed. And she has seen the benefits of not constantly working. I mean, she's got a huge following. It seems like she makes a great living, and I know that all of those hours that she put into her channel paid off. But, she said, I have taken a pay cut. She said, and it's worth it. And one of the things that she said, and hopefully I don't start crying, she actually did. She said, I took a pay cut because I went down to 2 videos a week. She said, but I would pay anything. She said, I would pay anything not to have the pain that I had. She said, I would do anything. I'd pay any amount of money for it. And if you're somebody that's sick, that has chronic pain or any chronic health issues, I mean, that just resonated with me so much. I mean, I was watching her video, tearing up and thinking, that's exactly how I feel. You would pay any amount of money not to be in pain and not to be sick. And she did. She's paying the price for it, but she's also seeing that life is better and her health is better. Her quality of life has improved so much. And she's even been able to take her channel in a different direction, which I think has probably helped a lot too. I watch her channel more now than I did before when she, was just doing makeup reviews and talking about makeup. There's another woman on here as well, and she may watch my videos. I'm not sure. I watch hers. She's kind of got a smaller following, and she has lupus. She has pretty severe lupus, and she moved to Mexico, because it was more affordable and it was just a better environment for her. And before she got sick, she was, I think, an award winning realtor. She was big time, she was making a great living. She was, doing big things. I think she was even a fashion vlogger, stuff like that. She had this great life. And it sounds, when she talks about her previous life, it sounds like she was an overachiever, a perfectionist, someone who was very driven. And she didn't stop until she was stopped. You know what I mean? She didn't stop until the illness stopped her. But even now, and her illness continues to advance, much like with the rest of us. She's now in a wheelchair, and I believe she opened like an art studio, like an art therapy studio in Mexico. And I'm kind of split, in my mind. I think to myself, that's great because now she's going to help other people that may be going through the same thing she's going through, and art is a great way to help yourself, help work through any kind of issues that you have. On the other hand, she's now in a wheelchair, she's very sick. Why continue pushing yourself to do these things? It can help her, probably. It could help her to make her feel like she still can do something. But on the other hand, are you doing that to your own detriment? And I've had to ask myself this question quite a bit. I had those two jobs. I ended up getting fired from one. I continued to substitute teach for about 7 years until I found a full-time job. Struggled through that full-time job for not even a year. I wasn't even there for a year until I got fired from that job because my illness continued to advance, right? It was almost like I would get knocked down, I would get up again and get knocked down again. And then I would wait to get up again to continue on instead of just, I don't know, maybe laying on the floor for a while. It sounds kind of weird, but sometimes you need to do that. And back again, I committed the same mistake right before my illness completely stopped me from working. I was working two jobs again. Working as a sub during the day, I was back to substitute teaching, and then an online English teacher in the evenings and even the weekends. So now I wasn't even getting a break on the weekend. And that did me in. That was it. I was done. I could no longer work. I just kept developing new symptoms. The light sensitivity. I was even losing my voice, which I needed my voice to teach English. My body was telling me to stop. And I think when your body is telling you to stop, you need to stop. You can keep going. You can keep pushing yourself. Eventually, it's, you're not going to be able to. And I think that's where some people have to get to. Unfortunately, sometimes it can be too late. Your illness completely stops you. But I think for a lot of people, they feel like if they stop, they've been defeated by their illness. And I think we really have to change that mindset. We're not being defeated. We need to slow down, and we need to ask ourselves whether it is worth it. Has it been difficult for me to go on disability and not work? Yes. I have faced a lot of scorn from family, a lot of criticism, not much support. They accepted it, but they're not happy about it. And I think the only thing they want is to see me go back to work. It's almost like they want me to get healthy just so that I can go back to work, not so much to just to be able to enjoy life. And those are other questions. If I ever do recover from this illness, do I want to go back to work? Is that something that, because I know that my issues are worsened by stress, is it going to be worth it? Is it going to be worth the risk? The other thing too is that a lot of us refuse assistance, and that's one thing that the other YouTuber, the one that does the makeup reviews, she spoke about that she needed to learn to accept help from people, and not always just do things on her own and rely on herself. Another thing too, and this is one thing I noticed from that same YouTuber and from both YouTubers and from a lot of other people, is that I think work serves as a distraction. It serves as a distraction from your illness, sometimes from your symptoms, because a lot of us can continue working and performing at a high level of pain. And I think the reason why is because it distracts us from the pain, or it distracts us from facing the fact that we have to, or that we should be finding a solution to the problem. Um, and a lot of times, there's people that, they're still well enough to maybe travel or to engage in certain hobbies, or, in my case, I engaged in a lot of reckless kind of behavior, um, and distracted myself that way. And a lot of us do that. If you can't do that with work, you'll do it with something else. But I think work is one of those big things. And I think that's where the workaholism comes into play. Are you working because you're avoiding something, or are you working because you really feel like it's fulfilling you? Those are the big questions that you need to ask yourself, and that I've needed to ask myself. For example, with thrifting, you know, in the last month or so, I've been going out thrifting in very hot weather. Today is actually over 100 degrees out here, and I told myself, you cannot go out thrifting in this heat. But it's been a huge distraction. It's been a distraction from my pain. It's been a distraction from the issues that I've been having after the exosomes treatment. It's been a big distraction, and I've gotten to the point where I felt like passing out because I've been out in the heat. I wear double mask even though it's hot outside. And that's just not good. It's not healthy. It's not safe. It's not mentally or physically healthy. So I've had to sit back and ask myself, are you doing this because you need the money? No, I don't need the money that badly. So then why are you doing it? Because you're hurting yourself at this point. Um, our success is due to our work ethic, but we can't enjoy that success because it's also making us sick. So that's another thing to take into consideration. You can't enjoy these things when you're dead. And if you're killing yourself, it doesn't matter how much you achieve or how much you do, you're not going to live to see or to enjoy the fruits of that labor. And again, the question is, why is it so hard for us to show compassion for ourselves? Why is it so difficult to say, you know what, I'm going to take the day off? Like today, when I just went in the pool, chilled out, didn't go to the swap meet. Why is it so hard to do that? Is it outside pressure from family? Is it interior pressure? Is it avoidance? Is it also not letting people down? That YouTuber she said exactly that. She said, I didn't want to let you guys down. You guys were accustomed to 3 videos a week, and you guys like my videos, so I was going to give you 3 videos a week. But even once she went to 2 videos a week, people didn't judge her. People didn't leave her channel. She just, she still had the same following, and people understood what she was going through. So, this is a huge one. I think a lot about Britney Spears, and I really want to do a video on Britney Spears because she's another one of these very high achievers, overachievers, and she's had a lot of issues. Even though her issues have been mental health issues, I do think it's just like a chronic illness, a mental health problem, bipolar disorder or depression. It's a chronic illness, and she is a very, very high achiever, one of the most famous, successful people in the world. And she's been plagued by this condition, and a lot of it has been from outside pressure. So I may do a separate video on her because I'm very fascinated by that. And she's one person that I'm not a fan of her music, but she's a personality that I have followed. I mean, she's from my generation. And I feel like I've seen the consequences of high levels of stress and how that's taken a toll on her. And I do feel like that should be, her life should be a cautionary tale for all of us who are chronically ill, who have any kind of chronic condition, whether it's mental or physical. And you see that in any condition. When you put yourself under a lot of stress, you're going to get sicker and sicker. It's just, that's just the way that it goes. But anyways, that's what I have for you guys today. Leave a comment down below. Let me know, what was your life like before you were chronically ill? Were you working a high stress, high profile job? Were you a perfectionist? It would be interesting to know what kind of lives we all led beforehand, and where we are now. So yeah, please like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next one. Take care.